共疾控中心原副主任杨公焕提醒，全球第二波疫情已爆发。北京东城街道用类似文革标语洗脑民众，鼓励举报。武汉大学社会主义研究专家曹亚雄患癌后靠众筹解决医疗费用。中共在扩大辅警400万后出台新检察法，要求百姓必须完全配合警察的任何执法行动，否则警察可无预警开枪。中共央行行长易纲刊文，维护小康社会梦境，掩盖经济下行现实。郭台铭在阿里巴巴股票处于300美元时高位套现，或暗示新的金融动荡。虽已进入10月份，但安徽巢湖水位还没退去，抗洪成常态。邯郸市上壁镇东辛庄黑警和消防队联合强拆民房，欺压百姓民反抗。
大家好好看看，大家好好看看啊！这就要干劲儿来，你看，你看不？他们只要干劲儿来，非法拆烟房的啊，非法拆烟房的，没有任何手续。哎，现在有没有任何手续来拆烟房的？啊，没有任何手续来拆烟房的吗？多多好人看看，多多好人看看，这邯郸市啥子？
看看我们国家多厉害啊！外宾永远都优先啊！看看啊，这非洲朋友待遇多好。
今天看一个抖音啊，我笑的。
公安局上后面
去。今天看一个抖音，那个说老外在。
武汉大学400名学子重现上山下乡和大跃进场景，亲手割麦子赶麦穗。中共文革场景再现，在强力洗脑之下，群体性精神病爆发已经成为常态。发炮实弹射击突然卡弹，中共制造业用大概率故障事件成全党卫军做炮灰的机会。
说应该是这个卡弹了。现在估计是输弹线上这个炮栓的问题，炮栓应该损坏了，然后把弹就给挤了，由于挤压，然后导致变形了。
中共1000亿级新国企成立，由国务院100%控股，水利部副部长杨旭光出任董事长。曾经力压德日同行、位居世界第1的沈阳机床因巨额债务申请破产重组。中伊两国外长2020年10月10日在云南腾冲会谈，以维护邪恶轴心利益。美国国务卿蓬佩奥10月9日采访时表示，已经结成美日澳印同盟对抗中共威胁，并指明台湾是冲突点。中共欲靠近金门演习，武力恐吓台湾。马来西亚海警扣留6艘中国渔船，拘60人，施压中共政府。
今天我答辩要说的只有一个意思，那就是美国才是当前全球战略安全与稳定的最大威胁。我为什么这么说？这里有10个简单的事实：一、痴迷穷兵黩武，美国军费常年高居世界第一，2019年达7000多亿美元；二、重施冷战思维，公然将中国、俄罗斯定位为战略竞争对手，渲染外部威胁，挑动大国对抗；三、奉行单边主义；四、谋求自我松绑；五、大搞政治操弄；六、打破战略平衡；七、阻挡生物军控；八、迟滞化武销毁；九、推动星球大战；十、构建黑客帝国。上述10个事实只是美国在国际安全和财经领域倒行逆施的一个概括。
香港黑警对香港手足的抓捕从未停止。
Right now, I'm medication free. I'm not taking any medications as of, probably 8 hours ago or so. I'm medication free, which frankly makes me feel good. I don't like medication. I feel really good. I feel very strong. I know a lot of people that have had the COVID or the China virus, as I call it, because it came from China. But I feel really, really strong. And a lot of people don't feel that way sometimes for a while afterwards. But very good. I didn't have a problem with breathing, which a lot of people seem to have. I had none of that. But I didn't feel very strong. I didn't feel very vital. I didn't feel like the president of the U.S. should feel.
But Dr. Yan, many scientists and researchers have actually slammed your claims, dismissed your paper as unsubstantiated. They have said it cannot be given any credibility. Can you really back up these claims that you have made?
Okay, first, what I want to tell you is this report full of the scientific evidence, and they were read by the relevant people in U.S. government, including the top experts, before I publish it. And they are totally convinced and give the very positive support to me. The second thing is I see a lot of mainstream media, including Daily Beast, including the National Geographic and New York Times, they write the papers using almost the same words to discredit my paper. And they invite those experts who cannot point out any evidence I use is wrong. According to the fact, they will use some word like nonsense, like some even worse word. And also, they cut paste of part of my word and change the concept. Basically, they use their title as scientists to twist people's understanding about the word in my paper. That's why I put the paper online in the open access. If people go to find and check, verify, they will understand who is telling the fact and who is changing the fact but misleading people. So for this, some expert, I will give the response later. But now I'm busy with the very important next scientific report. So I will release the next scientific report very soon. After that, I will also publish the reply to some of these experts. And also I will tell people how many ties between them to Chinese Communist Party. That's why they are the one jumping out to use this kind of lies and misinformation to mislead people.
Is anything else coming, though? We heard the president on the White House lawn the other day reminding everybody that the virus is the China virus. It's their fault. And he's saying that they will pay a big price. And I've been hearing that for a while, that it's coming. It's coming. When is it coming, and what could it be?
So I don't want to get out in front of the decision that the president has before him to make. But make no mistake about it, we recognize what the Chinese Communist Party did to the world, what they did to the American people, not only the loss of life here that's so tragic, but all the destruction of jobs and opportunity that's happened. The Chinese Communist Party is directly responsible for this because they chose to cover this up and do what authoritarian regimes do, hide information from the world. I will tell you that the Chinese Communist Party has already started to pay a price in so many ways. I don't know if you saw the data, but the world has turned against them. People have come to understand the threat that they pose, and And so all the goodwill that they had garnered over all these past years, when we looked the other way and let the Chinese Communist Party destroy jobs and destroy our way of life here in the West, I think the world has come to see what the Chinese Communist Party is truly made of. And I think you'll see not only the United States impose a cost for this, but I think you'll see countries all across the world come to recognize they want to be firmly planted as a partner and ally of the United States of America.
Hong Kong police said on Saturday they'd arrested 9 people suspected of helping 12 Hong Kong activists who fled the city in August heading for Taiwan, only to be intercepted by Chinese authorities and held on the mainland. The detainees' plight has grabbed international attention, with human rights groups raising concern as their families said they were denied access to independent lawyers and had suspicion that Hong Kong authorities helped in China's arrests. Accused of crimes tied to anti-government protests in Hong Kong last year, the group is being detained in China's southern city of Shenzhen after authorities intercepted their boat and accused them of illegal border crossing. Police arrested 4 men and 5 women suspected of arranging transport for the fugitives.
Those 3 things alone, right? They know that immediately. In Beijing CDC is telling her, "Hey, we know we got a problem, and we got it in Wuhan, around the P4 lab." Right? They already got 40 cases. But if you got 40, that means you're going to have 40,000, right? Oh, yes. And we can't talk about the 40 because the only talk about 27 because the 40 of them, only 27 can be associated to the wet market. And we got to keep attached to the wet market because that'll get the thing off the lab.
That's the narrative. Yeah.
That's the narrative. So they've already crafted. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Yan. They're already coming up with the crafting of the narrative even in December. Is that correct?
Yes. One more thing I want to remind that actually from the cases, there are people who had no contact to other patients and also no history to seafood market. So that means
that's another. In litigation, they call that a bad fact.
Which
right.
also implies that there was community transmission going on already, and they denied that reality.
I don't want to jump around too much, but you just bring up a great point. And Jack Maxey has pulled up the World Health Organization, and we don't want to kick a beaten dog like a World Health Organization, but this is critical to what the mainstream media, why the Democrats can't come out to vote on Election Day. They've traumatized their base because they will not go back and look at the facts like adults. He's got their critical path up, the World Health Organization. Dr. Yan, you're telling me that a scientist associated, we don't want to give his name out, associated with the Beijing CDC told you on early January that there was human-to-human transmission and community spread.
Yes.
The World Health Organization sent out a press release on January 12th, followed by a tweet on January 14th, while a delegation of senior cadre of the Chinese Communist Party is in the East Wing of the White House, signing the first phase of the trade deal. And they come out and say, after consultation with senior members of Chinese health authorities, there is no human-to-human transmission or community spread. So, Dr. Yan, how could that? What is that? That's either a bald-faced lie, or WHO. Did they not get the correct information from you, the Hong Kong lab? Because you guys are the reference lab, aren't you? The check. How did they get so missed? How did they? You were told in January 1st or 2nd, yet on the 12th and 14th, they're telling the world nothing to worry about here.
They know it, of course, but they're scared of Chinese Communist Party. For example, Dr. Liu Peng, he directly after the 2nd January, contact my friend in CDC directly, and he told me later that you get out of this investigation for a while from the 3rd January. Is that because it's dangerous and the China government doesn't want us to talk about it, so I won't tell you more about the information. I said, okay. And then they are obedient to China government's policies. China government doesn't want people to talk about it, and they want people just listen to their statement. That's why the WHO later said there is no case, and all their statement is the same. I mean, as what China government said. And also behind that, there is benefit, of course.
The last time you were on the show, you dropped kind of a bomb. I believe you said that Dr. Pierce had traveled to Wuhan in early January. Can you explain that a little bit better or more clearly?
Before Wuhan got locked down, he went to the mainland China, and he went to Wuhan at least twice, secretly.
He went to Wuhan actually secretly, and then
not for fun, definitely. I mean.
Right, and Malik Pierce is a World Health Organization physician. Am I correct? I mean, he is
consultant. I think is he a consultant or actually part of the World Health Organization?
He's the top guy behind Dr. Tedros, behind the technical officer, director in the COVID-19 team, the Dr. Maria. He's the one behind that.
There's no doubt in your mind. I want to make sure we're clear about this. Is there any doubt in your mind that senior members of the World Health Organization knew the facts, or was the CCP so lying to them that they would not know the facts? When they put out that press release and when they put out that tweet on the 14th and the press release on the 12th, were they misled, or did they actually understand something was going on and they just lied along with the CCP?
I mean, they are the one who's put to that position, so I'm sure they are not stupid, right? But definitely they know all the things, and the people provide information to them, Professor Liu Peng and Professor Malik Pierce and other people from China side, and those people also know what happened. These people, they work all together very well. It doesn't like some stupid behavior and know nothing.
I want to go back. We got a couple of minutes left in this segment, but I want to go back to the second thing you said about that. They actually never put forward. I want to go to this time. We got about a minute. They didn't actually put the correct genome up, but then they realized they had a problem. They pulled that back. It gets a little complicated. Explain it to the audience what they did about putting out the correct genome sequence and then trying to cover it up.
And okay, Dr. Young, go slow, because I know this is technical, okay, but take it slow. We got time.
Okay, briefly, so on 10th January, China government said they have the sequence of the genome of the virus in Wuhan. And then they publish it from the NIH, the Gene Bank, which is the biggest database on such pathogens, DNA sequence in the world. And they post it there on 12th January, so we can check it. And my husband checked it immediately, and he realized there were some error things happen. So those errors are very unusual because the virus genome is basically like our fingerprint. It's like you check it like you take photo. So you upload it there. Maybe there will be some gap or something, but there should be not such error. Make you cannot find the family of them, cannot have any hint to find their family. But 2 days later, they changed the version to version 2 and clearly mentioned on website that it's replaced or removed the version 1, which is also very unusual. And at that day, I checked
Dr. Yan, hang on a second. We're taking a short commercial break. We're going to come back to this. This is very important about the genome sequence because you can't really get to a vaccine unless you know what you're working with. Okay. Short commercial break, war and pandemic. The most important 2 hours of your media life is going on now as you find out how this virus started.
记住我说的话，咱们这个正义与邪恶的战争，一定会有人进美国监狱的。看谁进美国监狱，是你收买的邪恶力量。靠欺骗，打着上天的名义，天天回中国，收买美国官员，玩这黑警下三滥，8支来福枪，假推特收买100多国会议员，美国有这100多国会议员吗？被你收买了。战友们，今天在德州的战友 被逮捕的战友时时刻刻的牵着我的心。这就是为什么要依法惩贼啊，战友们，你们想过没有？如果你在国内，你被压迫跑到国外来了，你想过没有？傅西秋、郭宝胜、孟维川、夏叶良、胡平，还有这些吴建民这帮孙子，还有龚小夏这帮烂人，他们有本事去骗美国人、白人吗？根本没有本事。他有本事伤害人家吗？也没有。所有这人伤害的就是我们这号人，也就是卖同胞、欺骗同胞，然后收买美国政治，然后拿到美国的官员蓝金黄给中共交易，这是最邪恶的地方。我告诉大家，你们还不明白依法惩贼的意思，因为我们国内的家人的受伤害和被伤害都是这帮王八蛋、这帮孙子干的。
法国新增感染创下新高，在24小时内超过了26800例。随着欧洲感染数激增，德国加强了疫情的社会限制措施。俄罗斯报告了新增感染病例的单日增幅。印度报告了超过700万人感染 CCP 病毒，即将超过美国，成为世界上病毒感染最严重的国家。尼泊尔创下单日新增感染病例的记录，感染人数突破10万。巴西的病毒死亡人数超过了15万。美国疾病预防控制中心前主任说，美国已有4000万人感染 CCP 病毒。朝鲜继续坚持认为，朝鲜不会受到病毒大流行的影响。